Rebecca Lane had carved out a reputation in broadcast journalism for her biting commentary and fearless interviews. At just 32, she was the youngest primetime anchor in New York City. Her charm paired with a relentless drive made her unstoppable. But tonight was different. President Donald Trump was about to join her show live. As the red tally light blinked, Rebecca glanced at the camera with her trademark smirk. Up next, the man who tweets more often than most of us breathe. Laughter rippled through the control room. Her earpiece crackled. Numbers are through the roof, Rebecca. Keep it sharp, but don't cross the line. She nodded, took a steadying breath. She'd grilled senators and tech billionaires before. But this was Trump, a man she viewed as the very embodiment of all she despised in modern politics. Tonight she planned to hold nothing back. The split screen came alive. Trump appeared seated behind a plain desk. No flags, no grand backdrop. Just him, a pen resting between his fingers, and a weary smile. "Good evening, Mr. President," she opened coolly. "Evening, Rebecca. Thanks for having me," he answered with surprising calm. That threw her. She leaned in. "You've stirred quite the storm lately." Another polarizing speech, another flurry of tweets hammering the press. Trump chuckled. "I suppose that's true, but tonight I was hoping to talk about something else." Rebecca raised an eyebrow. "Not the economy, immigration?" He shook his head. I want to talk about forgiveness, and someone I met yesterday." Her control room buzzed in confusion. "Forgiveness?" Rebecca blinked. "All right, the floor is yours," Trump began. "Yesterday, I visited a VA hospital in Ohio. I met a woman named Grace Keller. She scrubs those hospital floors every night. Lost her husband in Afghanistan. Raises a son with special needs. Yet there she was, smiling as if the world hadn't stolen everything from her." Rebecca watched, arms folded. "And what does that have to do with public policy?" Trump's expression softened. She forgave the system for losing her husband's benefits paperwork. She forgave the neighbors who stopped asking about her. I asked why. She told me, "Because if I cling to bitterness, my son's world gets darker." Rebecca felt a pinch in her chest. Her mind flashed to her own father's funeral 7 years ago, a Marine who never made it home. She'd blamed everyone, the military, politicians, even her mother. Trump's words scraped old wounds. She pushed it aside. "That's a touching anecdote, Mr. President, but one woman's grace hardly excuses failures in policy." "You're right," Trump said quietly, "it doesn't. But it reminded me that sometimes the people we overlook carry more wisdom than all our debates combined." Rebecca studied him. This wasn't the fiery, combative figure she'd prepared to spar with. "Why this sudden vulnerability? Is there a reason you're sharing this story on my program?" "Yes," Trump replied, "because I think you need to hear it." Rebecca let out a startled laugh, not mocking, just shocked. "Me? Why on earth would I need a lesson about pain and forgiveness?" Trump didn't flinch. "When my name came up at the top of your broadcast, you laughed. Not the kind born of humor, the kind that hides something. I've seen it before." Rebecca stiffened. Trump continued, voice level. "You're bright, driven, relentless. But there's hurt beneath those sharp lines of questioning. Not just about me, about something deeper." She didn't reply. The studio fell silent. The director didn't dare cut to commercial. Trump leaned in slightly. "I'm not here to defend every mistake I've made. God knows I've earned criticism. But I also know sometimes we're so busy fighting, we forget to heal." The camera light faded to red for a break. Rebecca sat frozen, clutching her water bottle. "You okay?" her assistant whispered. Rebecca only nodded. When they were live again, she found her voice. "So, Mr. President, when you say healing, what do you really mean?" Trump took a breath. "Not policies, not campaigns. I'm talking about people. You, me, the millions watching who are carrying grief so old it's calcified." Rebecca shifted uncomfortably. "You laughed at me," Trump said again, softly. "Laughter's a mask. I wore it for years." She didn't interrupt. "I was loud. I was bombastic. I needed applause to fill holes I wouldn't admit were there." Rebecca narrowed her eyes. "And why reveal all this now?" Trump sighed. Because I've made enough noise. Maybe it's time to say something that matters, even if it costs me. A friend of mine, a war veteran, died last month. He left a letter for me. It said, "The man you are isn't the man you perform. Let the real one speak, even if it costs you votes." Rebecca sat up straighter. Trump met her gaze. "That friend was your father's closest comrade, Captain Robert Lane. He spoke of you often." "Why bring it here? Why not just mail it?" "Because I thought it should be opened here, in the light." With shaking fingers, Rebecca took the letter. The paper crackled as she unfolded it. Then she read aloud, "My dearest Becca, if this reaches you, it means I didn't come home. That breaks me. But listen to me. Your voice is powerful. Use it. Just promise me this. Don't let your pain turn it into a blade. I love you, kid. Be louder than hate, but gentler than anger. I believe in you. Dad." Her voice faltered. Tears slid down her cheek. Trump didn't interrupt. The studio was silent. A sacred, fragile stillness. They cut to break. Rebecca sat there, head bowed. "You want to keep going?" The producer whispered. She nodded. "I have to." When they returned, Rebecca faced Trump again. "I never imagined tonight would look like this. I've been so angry." Trump nodded. "It shows. And that's human. But don't let it dictate your story." She stared at her father's letter. "I've spent years tearing down people I disagreed with. I thought it made me strong." Trump sighed. "We all do that sometimes. When we forget that, we're broken too." Rebecca took a long, steady breath. "For the first time on this set, I have no clever comeback." She looked at him. "I've hated you," she confessed. Trump didn't blink. "I know. I thought mocking you gave me power," she admitted. "But did it?" Trump asked gently. Rebecca shook her head. "No, it made me louder, not better." Trump's eyes softened. "You're not alone. I mock people too, to hide how hollow I felt. I was lonely, maybe like you." It landed harder than she expected. "Why say all this?" she whispered. "Because somebody has to start telling the truth about pain," he said simply. Rebecca glanced around her studio. Years spent chasing headlines, applause, adrenaline. When had she ever paused to just feel? She swallowed. "I never really grieved my dad. I blame the war, the government, everyone." "It's easier than grieving," Trump said. "Try forgiving. Just start small, even if it's forgiving yourself." Rebecca met his eyes. "Maybe I'll try," she said in a trembling voice. "Start with me." The producer crackled in her ear. 10 minutes, rap big. But Rebecca didn't want to end with sound bites. "You've surprised me tonight," she told Trump. "But the critics will say this was stage." He shrugged. "Let them. I know what was real." She tilted her head. "You still care what people think?" Trump smiled faintly. "Less than I did. Loss does that. Puts opinions in their place." "You've lost someone important?" "A few," he admitted. "But tonight, I found a voice worth hearing again." She blinked. "Whose?" "Yours." The control room was stunned. Commentators waiting to dissect a brawl sat speechless. Social feeds exploded. Some cheered it as raw and redemptive. Others called it orchestrated. Rebecca didn't care. For once, she wasn't chasing approval. She looked into the camera. "I think we forget there are people behind these podiums. Real wounds behind policies." Trump nodded. "And maybe we both forgot the humans behind the headlines," she added. "You did," he said. "So did I." Rebecca extended her hand. "For what it's worth, thank you." He shook it. The feed faded. Lights dimmed. Rebecca sat alone, still clutching her father's letter. Trump had disconnected quietly, leaving behind something rare. Peace. Her assistant hovered. "You okay?" Rebecca laughed through her tears. "Number, but maybe I will be." She called her mother that night. "Mom?" Her mother's voice was tight with worry. "Becca, is everything all right?" "I read Dad's last letter on air." A soft gasp. "He always hoped you would. In time." Rebecca closed her eyes. "Maybe. That time is now." The next morning, headlines exploded. Anchor breaks down live. Trump opens up about loss. Media meets humanity. Rebecca skimmed social media. Some mocked her, some praised her, but buried in the noise was a message that mattered most. My daughter watched. She said, "Maybe I can forgive too." "Thank you," Rebecca smiled. She began a segment called Letters of Light, inviting viewers to read or write letters that brought healing. Veterans, widows, children of the fallen, even politicians sent theirs. Each night, Rebecca read one aloud. Tears and laughter shared across living rooms nationwide. Trump sent one too. She read it on air. "To the man I used to be, thank you for surviving long enough to become someone better." There was no applause, only a collective hush, a country reflecting together. One evening, Rebecca got a call from Trump's staff. "He wants you to speak at a veterans dinner." "Why me?" she asked. He said, "Your voice reached places his never could." She hesitated. "I'm not political." That's exactly why he asked. At the dinner, Rebecca stood before soldiers and Gold Star families. "I thought anger made me strong," she told them, "but it was forgiveness that finally gave me power." Veterans wiped tears. Trump, seated quietly in the back, just nodded. Later that night, back in her studio, she framed her father's last letter alongside a new one she wrote. "Dear Dad, I'm sorry it took me so long. Your words found me exactly when I needed them. I'm still angry sometimes, but I'm healing. And I'm finally using my voice for more than just noise. I miss you. Love, Becca." She placed it on her desk, not for viewers, but for her. Rebecca's show changed. Less fire, more truth. Fewer takedowns, more stories of quiet resilience. Ratings dipped, then soared. The audience evolved. So did she. One night, a small box arrived without a return address. Inside was a gold pen engraved with, "Your voice matters." Rebecca looked into the camera and smiled. Tonight's story isn't about politics. It's about people, about pain, and about how sometimes the person you least expect can teach you how to heal. The screen faded, not to black, but to hope.